extremely organized with everything out in front of you. And when you smile, when you talk, I'm sure Damien's talked about this because he's great at smiling when he's talking. He just sounds a lot happier when you smile and you talk. The customers over the phone, they can feel that and they can sense that. And if they laugh, they're going to know that they enjoy the phone call. So they're also going to enjoy the demo. You want to show them that you're obviously an enjoyable person that you want to hang out with. And this is something that's really, really simple, but it could go a really long way. Is when you ask for a choice of 2 times, instead of asking for the traditional 11 a.m. spot or the traditional like 3 p.m. spot, ask for really random times. So, Mrs. Jones, thank you so much for agreeing to see me. Would 11:07 a.m. work for you, or would 2:33 work for you? And that does a couple of things. Number one, it's like a weird time. So like, wait, like 11:07, and they kind of think about it, and they're not going to forget about you because it kind of stands out. But it also gives that illusion that you're super busy. And if you're busy and you share your goals with somebody, they're going to know that you're working hard to achieve them. So one of I actually had a branch manager who was listening to make calls the other day, and he said, so would the morning, midday, evening, or afternoon work better for you? And that's just like too much of a gap where the customer's like, oh, he's open all day. I probably won't have to see him like this week or whatever the customer is thinking, because there's so many options. But you want to give the customers like the illusion that, hey, I'm a busy student. I have class, clubs, sports, demos, and then office time. So you want to offer those times so that the customer's like, damn, like this person is pretty busy. And also when you offer the times that are off of the hour, it makes it seem like a shorter time commitment. So I'm not sure if Damien does this, but in my office, every interview that I have is either like 11:05, 2:15, 3:45, because that seems like a shorter commitment than putting it on like the hour or the half hour mark. And then you also want to be able to work around your customer's schedule. And so I was talking to one of our reps who was just in the office earlier today when she was making calls. I was having her like talk, build more rapport to the point where my representative knew her customer's schedule just as well as the customer knew their schedule. So you can walk through their schedule to help find a time that works for them. Because if you're asking for the morning or the afternoon and they're like, oh, the afternoon is busy, and all they have to do is pick up their kids at 3, then you could still go over for a demo like 1:15, and you'll be done by the time she has to go pick up her kids from practice. So you want to be able to work around their schedule and let them know, hey, so it looks like you have to pick your kids up at 3. I could be there at like 1:28 and I'll be sure to be gone by at least 2:41 at the latest. Like, would that work for you? Or do you think after you get back from picking your kids up, after you have some time to unwind at like 4:03, would that be better for you? And helping your customers understand that you're persistently trying to see them. There's a huge difference between being pushy and being persistent. And I'm a huge believer that if you have the right intentions, which all of you do because you're trying to just do a demo for Mrs. Jones, if you have the right intention of wanting to like serve your customer at the highest level, then you're never going to be pushy and you're only going to be like pleasantly persistent. And people appreciate persistence. Anthony Hayes, who I believe some of you guys listened to the other day, him and I actually share an office, and he tells a story all the time about how he was calling this one customer over and over again, like maybe once a month for his entire first year on the job. And she was like, hey, call me back this day, call me back this day. Then he ran a branch and she was like, hey, call me back in August. And he called her back in August, didn't pick up the phone. He was in Orange County doing a demo for somebody else, and he called her just to do a demo. And she was like, yeah, you can come over right now. And now this lady, Debbie, is Anthony's biggest customer of all time because he was just being persistent with how many times he was trying to reach her. So never count somebody out just because they didn't pick up the phone or because they're like quote unquote too busy. You always want to offer those times whenever they have the ability, and you want to work around their schedule. You always want to tell the customer of your goal, like how many demos you want to hit in a certain amount of time. You want to create that urgency and the importance. And you have to be willing to do those really early demos or the really late demos as well. Because if you have like a business person who's working like all the I know as a Cutco manager, I'm not home like literally like the days that have sunlight during the summertime because it's just so busy. So you have to be willing to do those weird time demos, like offering the times of like 6:15 in the morning or like 9:30 p.m. at night. And then most of the times nobody's ever going to select those times for demos, but if they do, then it's just about showing up and like doing those demos at those weird times, like committing to that. But what your customers are going to realize is that, wow, this person is going out of their way to like make time to see me. Like I probably want to see them. John Berghoff, I listened to a talk by John Berghoff. If you guys don't know who John Berghoff is, he's a rep from the Western region a long, long time ago. He broke the national push record one year. It was 25 grand. And then the next year he broke his own record and sold like $68,000 in a 2-week push. and he sold $15,000 after 9 p.m. like during the push. Like every day after 9 p.m., he would be doing demos, and he'd be selling over $15,000 through the 2-week push period after 9 p.m. when people got off of work. Now, a couple more things here before I wrap it all up. But when you get directions, you want to write them down, and you want to intentionally mess them up when you repeat them back to your customer for a couple of reasons. Number one, you want to write them down and repeat them back to your customer because that makes the phone call take longer. That's number one. Number two is you want to repeat the directions back to your customer, but you want to intentionally like mix up like a left and a right, so that way your customer really just emphasizes the directions, so that way they can kind of picture you coming over to their house. So if you say, if this is jump,
hey, cool. Do you do the same thing on a virtual demo, just getting their email address and you just say it wrong like 3 times?
Absolutely, yeah. So say their email and repeat it back to them, but spell it out incorrectly, or like do at yahoo.com and then be like, oh no, it's at gmail.com. Yeah. So Mrs. Jones is like, yeah, make a left on main, right on third. You're gonna say, okay, so left on main, left on third, and then she's like, no, it's left and then right. And then last 2 or 3 things here, you want to make sure that you get a couple of landmarks from your customer if you're doing the in-person demo. If you're doing the virtual demo, I love to have, like, when I used to do virtual demos, I'd say, hey, write like a smiley face with a beard and a man bun, round glasses, so you know what I sound like, or you know what I look like, because we never met each other before. And they always like get a good giggle out of that because it's like a dad joke and they love that stuff. But you always want to get landmarks if you're doing those in-person demos. And just ask about house colors. So Mrs. Jones, like, do you mind an hour before the demo starts, if you could just like light all of your plants on fire so that I can see the smoke and I know which house it is? Right. So there's all that type of stuff. Or you can even say, hey, Mrs. Jones, like, where could I park my 18-wheeler? Is it on the driveway fine or just right in front of the house? Right. So you want to make them laugh a little bit, but also make yourself stand out so your customer enjoys the call. And then after you've booked the demo, after you've actually scheduled it, this is a money phrase that's literally going to make you a ton of money. I'm going to text it to Damien so that way you guys don't have to even write it down. Let me see. But after you've got the demo booked, Damien, you can put this in your group chat or whatever you want to do with it. But you want to say this, Mrs. Jones, can you grab your calendar or planner really quickly? Just write down kuvall, and I'm going to see you on Friday at 3:15 p.m. I know it might sound silly for me to have you write it down, but the reason I do that is because there was just one time this super nice lady, she totally forgot about me, and I drove all the way to her house and she wasn't there. And I know she didn't do it on purpose, but it really hurt my chances to stay on pace for my scholarship that week. And I know you'd never do that to me, Susie, but ever since then, I just make sure that people write it down. Thank you so much again. I really appreciate your help, and I'm excited to see you Friday at 3:15.
Boom. Yay. All cancellations are gone. Word.
Yeah. Pretty much, because you're a college student they've never met before, that kind of pulls the emotional attachment to you, like, oh, they can feel that pain of that reschedule, that cancellation, and they don't want to be the cause of that pain. Now, obviously, if you're doing a virtual demo, you're just going to adjust that a little bit, but still have the same concept or the same like principle.
I got that. Just send
Perfect.
me that, and I'll restructure it so it works for them too. I know exactly how to change it.
Perfect. And then a couple of keys that I'm sure you guys all know is never schedule phone time. Never schedule demos during your phone time or like during like team meetings, phone jams, office meetings, events. They're the most important things. So never schedule a demo on top of your phone time, because if you do that, then you're never going to have the phone time to book more demos. So just be diligent about your schedule. You always want to schedule demos in the same area if you're doing in-person presentations so that we don't have to do too much driving. I know in LA, it's a big problem where people schedule an appointment in West LA and then one in Pasadena. It's like an hour away from each other. And then you just want to make sure your customer really understands that the demo is going to be more entertaining than whatever else they have going on. So a couple things that I would tell my demos was, hey, I'm going to be the highlight of your day. Mrs. Jones, I promise. Thank you so much for agreeing to see me. Hey, Mrs. Jones, I promise I'm going to be more entertaining than late night TV. And if it's like football season, I know like this season they have like, I think it's like Dance with the Stars or something like that. It's on Monday nights. So if I'm booking a Monday night demo, make the joke, hey, Mrs. Jones, like, I'm going to be more entertaining than Dancing with the Stars. Right? Just let your customer know that you're there and you're going to have a lot of fun. But yeah, Damien, that is my keys to the phone.
Holy shit, dude. I recorded only 75% of that because my brain didn't work at the beginning. but that's probably the best phony talk I have ever heard in 20 years of selling Costco.
Like 5 minutes. So gone.
Yeah, that was sick, dude. Thank you so much for bringing the absolute like shitstorm fire from California. I hope that takes away some of the fire of what you guys are dealing with over there. Yeah, because it's tough out there, dude. You guys are freaking warriors. Kuvall, you are the man. We're gonna make sure that Hannah delivers some fire for you guys next Wednesday. And then anything that you need from me, you are a made man in my life. I will dance at your wedding. Let's give him a round of applause, please.
Thank you.
All right, see ya.